I'll let him do all the talk about his amazing story. Thank you.
Hello everyone, how are y'all doing? As you said, my name is James. I've got a class with some of you who have all seen me around campus as well. Have anyone ever heard of a TBI? That stands for traumatic brain injury. A lot of people have even with the abbreviation. It's the number one thing going around, not only in America but worldwide. For example, every single year, just in America, it used to be, like when I say it used to be, as in when I got mine in 2011, it was 1.7 million per year, but now it's 2.4 million per year. And it can happen anywhere, anytime, to anyone. Just from falling and hitting your head. Like, you know that concept of the whole, you all aware with the helmet rule with the NFL? A concussion is a small form of TBI. It's called a mild TBI. That's just how the whole thing works. And out of America, there's 5.3 million TBI survivors. And with TBIs, you're not guaranteed to survive. Sometimes there are not any survivors. It's a very high death rate. I have an STBI, a severe traumatic brain injury, and I'm not trying to brag or win on. But for example, it's kind of hard to see. I have some photos, but I have this scar right here. The one side of my skull was taken out to help my brain breathe, and obviously didn't breathe enough. That's not working good. But just in America, like I stated, there's 5.3 million TBI survivors, and 300,000 of that are children. It's not just for adults. And being males, you're 3 times more likely than females to get a TBI. The highest rate of a TBI is from falling down. Like for example, I have a friend. He got his 2 years before mine, and he just started last year in the spring being able to talk to his mom only by singing. It's his 5th year anniversary, just being able to sing. Otherwise, he doesn't talk. And he just fell down and hit his head. It unfortunately was on the curb, but it wasn't going faster than he was longboarding in California. So it doesn't, like for example, it's not like you have to hit your head extremely hard. I mean, there's 2 types of TBIs. There's traumatic TBI, there's acquired TBI. That's from getting a stroke when your brain loses oxygen. And for example, as you can tell me, it's an invisible disability. For example, people it's very hard to have friendships or relationships. You lose family members as well because people don't understand about a TBI or the actions unless you are in our shoes, and I guarantee you don't want to be in our shoes. It's very bad. Some of these photos that I have right here, sorry, the difference is very cool. Here's some of the facts about TBI. Just for one of the statements, just for TBI, the average with therapy and everything is about 4 million. It's a very expensive injury, and there's no guarantee. And once again, I say this multiple times, I'm not trying to brag or win an award, but I'm not how I'm supposed to be at all. And it's not because medicine couldn't do anything, it's because the power of prayer. And God obviously has a plan for us all. And before my injury, and just to make this clear, some of y'all are aware of this, mine was in September 22nd of 2011. I was in San Antonio, Texas. As you can see, this is me at University Hospital. I was going over an overpass on my motorcycle R6, and it was pearl white with white rims, HID lights, fire safety light. My friends now work for Jesse James, who built it, so it was impossible not to be seen or not to be heard. I was going home over an overpass, and I saw a lady at the light, and she kept scooting up but didn't have the blinker on. So I assumed, oh, she needs to be able to make a U-turn. So I got over in the far right lane, so that way she would have enough room going up the overpass to make a U-turn. And I didn't want an accident to happen. Well, odds are an accident did happen. She ran her light and did not see me. She could have been texting and driving, who knows. But she T-boned me on my motorcycle and flew me into the light pole on the end of the bridge. And my helmet flew off. You know, I always wore a helmet. It's very important to always wear a helmet. My helmet flew off and went 200 yards away, and my whole face broke. I'm blind on this side. Is everyone familiar with how the optic nerve works? The optic nerve is the vein that goes through your brain. So when my whole face broke, it was not cut. And with the optic nerve, if you get cut in your optic nerve for 30 minutes or less, you go blind. Mine was not cut, it was severed. So the blood would go to my brain and just wouldn't return. And I was in a 5-week coma. And with these images, there's something I'd like to share. The reason the doctors were amazed because my whole skin is supposed to, I was basically wearing the same outfit I had on, obviously a helmet. I'm not wearing a helmet now. And the doctors were amazed because my whole skin is supposed to be ripped off from hitting that pole. And they were amazed. The tiny scars I have, it's kind of hard to to see the light I gave little ones. And then I had where my shifter on my motorcycle went through and broke my left leg. And the doctors were very confused. That's because this man over here in the top, and I'm sorry, but that is me in the blue shirt. I don't show up to class like that. This is my mom's dad, Opa, who passed away in 1992, and he's who called me. And then I was sitting on the side of the road and I saw my motorcycle over here tipped over. And he was how I am now. He was massaging my shoulders. And I said, Opa, I got to get my bike. And he said, no, you don't, James. It's not your time to go yet. I want you to tell your family and my family and Betty, my grandmother, his wife that's still alive, that I love you. I watch over y'all every single day. And I can't wait to see you again. And then we shot up in the sky. And my wreck was at 9:30 at night in San Antonio. And I saw the entire city of San Antonio that night. And then we went up in the clouds and it was extremely warm. It was touching the ground. It's very bright. And this one here, my dog Bull, the only dog I had growing up, he's an English Springer Spaniel. He came running up and I was like, no way, Bull, what are you doing? His tail was wagging, I was petting him. And my friend Bryson, sorry if I'm moving, I said by the way. Bryson, he used to race motocross for Honda in high school. And he passed away 10 years ago the other day. And he walked up and I go, Bryson, what are you doing with my dog? And he goes, James, it's not your dog, it's mine now. Bikes kill me, they're not going to kill you. Please tell your family and my family that I love you and can't wait to see you again. And then my dad's grandfather, Pops. Once again, this is me in my grandmother's hands. Pops, he pulled up in his truck, which was a 70 C10 pickup truck. And he said, James, I'm going to get you down there. It's not your time to be here yet. And ironically, he's blind in one eye. I'm blind in one eye. Family. But I started laughing. I said, my dad sees me driving with you. I'm in so much trouble. I can't be in the car with you. No way. And then his wife, Grandma, she walked up with her chocolate famous cake. And we used to always eat that. We were going there, and I had a toy car I played with, a Mama Ghostbuster car. And she said, James, it's not your time yet. I want you to eat this and play with this. And when the time's right, you're going to wake up. Please tell everyone we said hi and we love you. And, you know, when I tell this, people always ask, if you're talking about memories, there's the childhood memories, and it's nothing about childhood memories. I remember not only exactly what happened, I hugged them all. It was real. And for my injury, and I'm sure this is how everyone is, we used to go to church all the time growing up. And then when you get older, it's not that you stop believing, but you have stuff to do, like college, work, whatever the case may be. When we come back in town, then we would go for holidays, like Christmas Eve, Easter, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. And I used to always assume, okay, there's a story behind this. You know, there's trying to teach you about something in life. That's the whole meaning of church. But I understood that it's not just a story, that heaven is real. That we all have absent loved ones that are now angels watching over us daily. And there are no coincidences in life. Everything happens for a reason. And like, for example, I know a bunch of friends that have, and Bryson's one of them, that have been in a wreck and been hit like I've been hit, but obviously they got called home. And like I say, I'm not trying to brag or win an award, but there's proof that we're all here for a reason. And the fact that you wake up every single day, that's literally proof that God is not ready for you to go yet. Because when the time's right, He's going to call you home. And it's amazing how, you know, we all go through, whether you have a bad life, strong life, whatever the case may be, we're all going through stuff. Everyone you meet is going through something different. And whether it's something you know about or not, and everyone is always hunting for love. You can't get enough of it. It's just like the air we breathe. So it's amazing how no matter who you are, no matter who you think you are, always help out others, because that's what HOPE stands for. Help out people everywhere. And you can't get enough of it. So you have to be the reflection. So you need to treat people like you want to be treated. And as you can tell, just to explain, this is my first time back at San Antonio. That's when my rep was, like I said, at the University Hospital where I was in my home. This is Dr. Gustav Barr. This is my first time meeting him. Obviously, I didn't get to meet him when I was asleep for a while, but he did a great job. And this is at TIR. You guys ever heard of TIR Memorial Hermann Hospital? How about Gabby Gifford? That's where Gabby Gifford went. She got out, and that's where I got to go. And this is my first time to learn to walk upstairs. My first stairs to ever go up at TIR. And this is the workout room. I was one of the only ones that could walk at that hospital. TIR, all they focused on was brain and spine. That's it. So when I was walking up the stairs, all the other patients were cheering me on in the wheelchairs. It's just, you know, helping others out, lifting them up, being the reflection. So you do that. And it's not like you want something in return. You just share the love because it's common. It's not like we have to learn how to do it. And some of my staff on the 6th floor. And this is another visual just to help provide, because people always assume that this is Photoshop. But this is what, when you do it through a TBI with hacker scroll taking out, obviously depending on not only the procedure, how bad your wreck is, and obviously what kind of TBI you have. Like for example, one of my friends, Will, we had the exact same doctor, but his was his entire brain, so he couldn't have his skull taken out. So there are some TBIs that don't go through that procedure. And when I left here, it was November 30th, 2011. This is the last CT scan because I went back to university to get my skull put back in. You can see my brain was happy. She's like, hey, yeah, great job, Jane. Great job. So it works out good. And this is some other stuff. And it's amazing how, no matter what you go through in life, you can always handle it two different ways, as you know, either positive or negative. And it's all up to you, because no one lives your life for you. So if you want good results, you just have to live life and be happy about it. Because there is no sequel. Life is a limited time option. Because as you know, time is not on our side. So we need to live each day to the fullest, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. You always need to tell the people you have in your life, friends, family, everyone, that you love them. Because what if something happens and you don't know? We're not in control. God's in control. So if something happens and you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this, but instead, you can live each day, each night, the best way possible, and just tell people you love them. Because you can never tell someone you love them enough. Like, for example, I tell my family all the time I love them. They're like, okay, James, that's enough. This is that second chance. Some of y'all heard of, or any of y'all heard of Second Chance of Northwest Florida? Second Chance, as you know, is a TBI facility for adults. You guys ever want to go there, you're more than welcome to help out. This is me. I go there. I've been doing an internship there for one of my classes. I started last year in the fall, so I go and help out. And it's great to be around other TBI survivors and help lift them up, because it's great to not only understand we're on the same level. I'm like, hey, I know what you're talking about, but also just for y'all to be aware that for anyone with a TBI, you have no idea the impact of just saying hi to them, because they're like, you're talking to me. You know, you're really talking to me, because it's. When you get a TBI, the problem is that people assume that it just affects you. It affects anyone that associates with a TBI. Friends, family, and the community, because it takes not only one person to make their life better, everyone has to. And the problem is, and I'll be honest, I've lost a lot of friends that, for example, they're like, oh, you know, you're acting dumb. You act like you have a problem, you're fine. And that's the whole problem. It's an invisible disability. So like when I explain to people I'm blind, and when I'm like, oh, your eyes are fine, then move. Or I show them my scar, I'm like, oh, what's that from, like a sports game? And like I tell them, I'm not trying to brag one more. You just have to understand that not only everyone's different, but the whole learning process is different. Everyone's brain's different. And with the TBI, for example, like how mine is the left side, you might meet someone with the left side, but we're completely different. And each TBI is kind of like a snowflake. They're all unique. None of them are going to match not only the injury, not only the recovery, but also their personality and how they are. This is at Gulf Coast, as y'all aware of, that's where I went. And I got my AA there in 2012, I finished there. And then I came here. I'm sorry, I finished there in 2013. Dr. Curley had me speak to the entire faculty and explain not only a TBI like I'm doing with y'all today, but also the learning process, how people with disabilities learn, how they function, and just to help spread awareness. Because that's the problem with TBIs. Every 9 seconds, a TBI is happening. Every 9 seconds. And then you would think there'd be more awareness to stop it, but that's the whole problem. There's not enough awareness. You know, people don't either know very little about it, or don't know about it at all. Or they do, and they're like, okay, you know, what are you going to do? And you can ask my family, it affects everyone. It's not like, oh yeah, our son has a TBI. We understand everyone has to adapt. I got to go back, and this shirt right here is the same one as this one. I got to go back to TIER for the first time. I went as a volunteer, and it was great not only to see all my therapists and all my doctors and surprise them, because obviously the last time they saw me, I was 140 pounds with half my skull missing. So I go like, hey, by chance, did you remember anyone with the name James? They're like, I think so. Well, my name is Jimmy Jam. So I say Jimmy Jam, and I show a photo of me, and then when I'm leaving, they're like, no way, this is you? Like, yeah, let's take a photo. And as you can tell with the photos before, where I had that helmet, I would wear that helmet when I got out of bed. Even if I was sitting on the edge of my bed tying my shoes, because if I fall down with half the skull on, would not be good. So I still have the helmet. I have framed in my living room for all my doctors at both hospitals, all my nurses. I had them sign it because it's a huge impact and a huge part of my life. And it's amazing how even just being a nurse, it's not like you have to have some professional thing like be an ex-teacher or be a nurse. Just saying hi to someone, just being in a person's life, even just for just a few seconds, because the impact you have, you could be the only sunshine they see for the entire day. And it's not like we need, okay, I did something for you, I need you to give it back. No, you just do it because, like I've stated, you just need to be the reflection. Because if you treat others how you want to be treated, that's how it works. It all comes around. And like, for example, there are no coincidences. People come in our life for a reason, not because of gravity. Like, for example, I met all of y'all when I started going to school here. And not only everyone here, but also the other students, even the students that I don't know, that I've had very few class with, like, y'all have made a huge impact with Florida State on my life. Because not only, similar to Gulf Coast, not only to help me feel normal, because I'll be honest, even though I love normal, I'm not normal. I got a lot of cognitive problems, and that's the whole problem. They're like, oh, you look fine. No, I still have problems. And TBI is a lifelong thing. It's not like, okay, there's a finish line, it's going to happen in a couple years. It's going to go on forever. But you guys, there's not enough people here for me to thank everyone. But for those of you that are, you have helped me more than I can even describe. Because not only do, like I stated, you help me feel normal, but you help me achieve and succeed in college. And not only you're a part of a dream that I've had. My parents went to Florida State, so being able to be a Seminole has always been a childhood dream. And I always assumed before my rep, okay, college is not my thing. But honestly, I got a rep for a reason. I went to Gulf Coast for a reason. I came here and I met all of y'all, and y'all have helped lift me up higher than the satellite. And it's amazing the aspect that y'all have helped me out with, and the impact that each of you, not just once, but daily. Even when just saying hi, even when we have class, just seeing you. The impact that you guys have had on my life is literally impossible to remove. It's like trying to crush diamonds with your hand. No matter how many times you try to remove it, it just will not. So you guys will always be a part of my life. And if there's ever anything I can do, it doesn't matter if it's big or small to help you in life, or if you guys just need someone to talk to. You're never bothering me. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that, and it will never change, I promise you. By the way, it's so awesome. That's cool. If you guys ever get the chance, I know some of y'all I've given those CT scans. I have some more. I'll hand out some more of those. A website that I started last year in the fall called, this is the website, TBI One Love. And what I've promoted it for is it gives a chance for every TBI survivor to share their story to help end the silence. And it shows how different it is. It's not just for one certain age group or one individual. Like, for example, one of the children that was just on there, he's 2 years old, and he just got pushed out of the window by another kid, and 15 to 35% of his brain isn't working anymore. So it's not just for adults, it can happen to anyone. It's a huge problem. It's more common than HIV, than breast cancer, and any illness you think is the #1 illness. And with the side effect of the TBI, you get PTSD. Is anyone familiar with what that stands for? Post-traumatic stress disorder. It's very common with TBIs. It's very common to commit suicide. It's a very high suicide rate because you get the whole judgment of, oh, you're fine, okay, when you stop acting like that, you're acting dumb. But the problem is when you meet people like that, and you don't have to have a TBI to go through this, when you have people that put you down, 2 things are the reason behind that God put them in your life. 1, they show you how not to be. And 2, it could always be worse. You could be them. So if you have to look at everything, even if you're like, oh, I did something wrong, oh, why is this person everyone's picking me on? Whatever the case may be, if they're making a mistake in your life, just remember that. There's a reason behind everything. The good stuff we're blessed with. The bad stuff, there's lessons behind it that help us move forward. And we each have a beautiful life. It's similar, it's just like a flower. It only blossoms when the time is right. We all have blessings that are placed in our life that are in disguise until something happens. And you don't have to go through a wreck. You don't have to get a TBI. I hope no one here gets a TBI. But when you go through a bad time, whether it's relationship, job, economics, see that's a TBI right there. Economy, whatever the case may be, we have to hit rock bottom to understand that God is the rock at the bottom. And He's just going to lift us up because we have to place everything in His hands just like it's supposed to do. And if you think about it, we're each a seed, and He's our son. He planted us here, and when the time is right, we're going to go back in the ground. But He's always just going to let us blossom. We don't have to try to be someone else. Of course, we all have role models.
But we have role models. We don't need to be that person. We just need to be us, because we're each one of a kind. No matter what people tell you, certain people are going to love you, and some people are not going to love you because other people are loving you way more than they're getting loved. And there's no reason to be in a competition with others based on, oh, I live a better lifestyle than you, or I have something you don't have, because we're all going to the same spot. And if you think about it, if God didn't forgive sinners, heaven will be empty. And heaven is not just a story, heaven is real. And I can't tell you enough that I wish I could go back a million times. And honestly, when the time's right, I'll go back. We'll all be there. Maybe we'll be able to hang out there, who knows? But the beautiful thing is I would change a thing. Not only my TBI adventure, which is still an ongoing process, but I got to understand that heaven is real. So I cannot wait till the time goes back, and I know you've all witnessed certain things that you're like, oh, I wonder why this happened, or you're not sure why certain things happen, but that's just God behind the wheel. Because He's the car wheel. He will control our directions. He'll take us the path we need to go. So if you have the crowd going down the path, going this way, don't be afraid to go a different way. Because you just need to be you. You're each unique. Just be yourself. No one lives your life for you, and there's no guarantee of, like I say, every single day. So just always tell your friends, your family, if you got animals, of course, those who like people, tell them that you love them. Because no matter who you are or what they are, no one can get enough love. And that's what love stands for. Love's obviously valued everywhere. And it's priceless. And if you think about it, like I said before, it's like the air we breathe. You just inhale and exhale. And if you hold your breath, obviously your face turns colors. You're just being negative, holding it in for yourself. You just need to share it. That's all you need to do. I just can't go this third thing. And this is a sign of Erica Howard. And this is a statement that are true we ought to understand. That's how easy life is. That if you love life to live, life will love you right back. Life is like a mirror. You smile at it, it's going to smile right back at you. That's all it takes. It's not like, oh, I need to have certain hard work. I got to do this to achieve anything. No one's judgment matters besides God, because He's the one that knows us all. Obviously, our parents. Let's be honest. Okay, there's God in your parents, but besides that, I mean,